What is up, everybody? Welcome to the dungeon. I am Mystic. I am about to do your weekly tarot readings. Keep in mind, these readings are general, they may not resonate with everybody. Also, I do have a Patreon where you can check out monthly readings. We don't have December's up yet, but we will get them up soon. So go and check that out. I also, I have the past 3 months up there, so y'all can go check that out. If y'all want to check out, get a new perspective on what has already happened. So what I'll be doing is I will pull one card for the general energy of each zodiac sign, and then I will go back and pull another card for the love energy, because everybody wants to know about love, but not everybody has love in their life. That's why I like to do both of them. So without further ado, oh, yes, we actually have further ado. I always forget to use these since I haven't been using them very long. Aries, let's get it going for you. All right, what is going on with Aries over the next week? What kind of energy will Aries encounter over the next week? What is going on with Aries? All right, let's see. Aries, you have the Page of Wands. So the Page of Wands typically represents conversation, messages, talking, communication. But and yes, a lot of people, many of you will be communicating. But my first inclination is there are a lot of you who are burnt out and don't want to talk to anybody right now. It's been a long weekend. It's been a long weekend, so you may be a little burnt out on the interactions. But in trying not to be moody, you know, trying to, put on a happy face. Um, but with some of y'all, it is genuine. You're just excited. You're one of those people that is like so excited for Christmas. You're getting ready right now, and you're happy about it. And it may not be Christmas, but there's something that you have that vibe of a person, that type of person. There's something that gets you feeling that way, and the energy that you carry when you are that way is what you're kind of carrying now. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Aries. What is up with Aries' love life? What is going on in Aries' love life? Use an alarm deck. Here we go. We gotta use a different one here. See what's up with Aries. What's going on in Aries' love life over the next week? Okay, Aries, you have the Nine of Wands for your love life. So, things may be getting kind of difficult. You may be encountering a lot of obstacles in regards to your relationships and your love life. Um, it's kind of like you're almost to the point that you're trying to be at with your relationship. Um, but there's like kind of like having a final boss if you're playing a video game, if you will. There are some things that like you're just there, you're just almost at your goal, but there's still a few things, maybe not so little things, that you may encounter that slow you down on your way there. And that can be very frustrating. That can be very, very frustrating for you. So you really need to let go of the past. And that may very well be what it is. holding on to anger and grudges and just pain from the past, and that could be holding you back from moving forward, not only in your current relationship, but if you are single, in a relationship in general. This is, it will affect you no matter what. You know you have to work on letting this go. All right. Okay, let's move on to Taurus. Okay, that feels weird. I'm right-handed. I need to put my mouse over here. Okay. All right, let's see what is going on with Taurus over the next week. What kind of energy will Taurus encounter over the next week? What is going on with Taurus over the next week? What kind of energy will they encounter? How will it affect them? And what will they do? Okay, so we have the Nine of Wands for you, Taurus, which we just had. Nine of Wands for Aries is love life. This is general energy, so it'll be slightly different. The general energy may have an influence on your love life. But generally speaking, you're struggling. You are having a hard time because there is something that you are trying to achieve, but it's like negativity starts to take over. Negativity or insecurity, your thoughts become your worst enemy, and they hold you back from achieving your goal. And what's so frustrating to you is that you have the ability, you have what it takes to accomplish this, but there's just something in the way. Something in the way. There's just something in the way. And yeah, it's very frustrating because some of you may not even know what this is, and so you can't change it, you can't fix it, you can't move beyond it if you don't know what this is. But with some of you, part of what it is a need to move beyond it. I mean, you're holding yourself back to a certain extent, by what is going on internally. And this is something you may not realize. It's like a subconscious battle that you're fighting. But you're determined to get beyond this. You are doing everything you can to fight off thinking like this or thinking about this. Like, this could be something that has happened that you can't stop thinking about. But I really feel like if you are able to work through those emotions and those feelings, you will be able to move beyond this. It's just going to take work. It's going to take a little extra elbow grease to get where you want to go. Where's the selenite stick? Oh, there it is. All right, let's move on to your love life, Taurus. What is going on in Taurus's love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Taurus encounter in their love life over the next week? Okay, in your love life, we have the Ten of Wands. So there are some things that are really bothering you about your relationship or your love life, the history of your love life. As an extension to the general energy, which, like I said, does also influence the love energy, you can't stop thinking about this. You are obsessing. You really wish you didn't feel this way. Also, because you may feel like it's getting in the way of your progress. Just the obsessiveness, the weight is hard to carry. Also, in your relationship, it may be a situation where one of you is carrying more weight than the other, in which case I think you would benefit from communication and asking for help. Um, this may be something you don't want to do because you may have a tendency to be stubborn and prideful, and so you don't want to ask anybody for help, especially your significant other. You don't want to bother your significant other, burden them. But the thing is your significant other wants to be there for you, and they can't if they don't know what's going on. They can't ease your burden if they help to, or even try to ease your burden if you don't communicate what's going on. And to elaborate on that, or to extend on that, um, brain fart. Okay, I'm coming back around to it. To extend on that, you need to just have a conversation about how you feel overwhelmed. Just in general, you need to have this conversation. Like if you are in a relationship or situationship where like this person doesn't really know you, you may have kind of withdrawn. And it may be a good idea to communicate to this person that you are feeling overwhelmed, especially if there's somebody you care about, because you may be kind of backing away a little bit from them because you're trying not to think so much about it. So you think that if you back away a little bit, it won't be so bad, or you'll be able to figure it out more. Be sure to let them know what's going on, because they could possibly interpret that as rejection. So keep that in mind. If you are single, yeah, you're not really happy with your love life, with the history of your love life, and you're ruminating on that a lot right now. All right. Let's see what's going on with Gemini. What kind of energy will Gemini encounter over the next week? What is going on with Gemini? What kind of energy will they encounter over the next week? How will they feel about it? How will it affect them? What you gonna do when they come for you? Alright. Alright, we have the Six of Wands for the general energy. So, you may be feeling at this point very successful. You may feel like you're getting what you want right now, maybe getting a lot of attention and recognition from other people. Of course, this makes you feel really good because some of you just like attention. Let's be real. But some of you have been really working hard to get where you are. So in order for you to get the recognition for your abilities, it just feels good. It's like an affirmation of what you already feel internally. Maybe you haven't had as much success up to this point, and maybe it was kind of starting to get you down and out, but you may come to a point where you are getting more recognition and acknowledgement at this point. Some of you need to be wary of the mindset of having I'm right and I'm always right and nobody else is right ever, because there could be situations where there is conflict, and that's how you feel. Like no matter what the other person says, you know you're right. You know you're right. And that can be like literally or just yeah, you know that you're right, even if you're not right, you're still saying that you're right. You are still convinced that you are right, no matter what anybody else says. And that's not necessarily a good energy to be in. You might want to be a little more open and receptive to other points of view, other perspectives. Because, yes, perhaps you are right about this situation, but it does not mean that the other person is wrong. Bam. Okay, let's see what's going on in your love life, Gemini. What is going on in your love life, Gemini? What is going on with Gemini? What's going to happen to them? How will it affect them? What will they do? King of Swords. So things may be a little icy in your love life right now. If you are single, you are kind of distant. You may come off cold and just super apathetic and just that not interested in pursuing a relationship at all. And perhaps that is genuinely how you feel. Maybe more focused on like your education at this point. You're not feeling too talkative at this point, which is interesting because Geminis like to talk. So let's just say you're not feeling too talkative about the way you feel right now. Some of you may be pulling away from a situation because you don't know exactly how to feel about it, and you just need to take the time to think about it, to analyze it. Imagine that, Gemini. You need to take the time to think about this situation and try to think about it from a place where you're not being blinded by emotion, because perhaps in the past you've been blinded by emotion, and it's like you're not trying to completely douse your emotion, but you're just trying to think more reasonable about it, about what to do about it, etc. Um, this is something that it would freaking benefit for you to communicate this with your partner if you're kind of distant, so that they know it's not them, unless it is them. Um, but even just be like, I just need time to think. You don't necessarily have to tell them it's about them, but just let them know that you need the space to kind of figure out what's going on in your head, because it may just be a passing mood. Um, I'm pretty sure it is, because Geminis love to talk. So you're not going to keep closed up forever. Unfortunately, some of you may be dealing with a very harsh Gemini, or Gemini in some cases. You may be very harsh and extremely inconsiderate about how your partner or the person you're in a situationship feels, because again, you feel like you're right about this situation, and that's all there is to it. Like, that's it, you're right, and you don't want to deal with them anymore. You don't want to deal with this situation anymore. And so you may come off a bit harsh in your communication, because you're so convinced you're right that any type of response that the other person gives you, it just kind of pisses you off more. It really does, and it adds to the confusion. So you definitely need to take that time to kind of clear your head. All right. see, moving on to Cancer. Let's see what's going on with Cancer over the next week. What kind of energy will Cancer encounter over the next week? Kind of energy will Cancer encounter over the next week? Interesting. Cancer, you have King of Swords energy. Interesting. This is just not specifically in regards to your love life as it was with Gemini. This is in regards, in general regards, you don't really want to deal with anybody. You want to go in your shell. You want to take that time away to kind of think about what's going on, analyze what's going on, not be blinded by your emotions, because oh my god, you were so sensitive, and you can't help it. And sometimes that sensitivity and that emotion can blind you to the reality of what's going on, because perhaps sometimes you'll hear somebody say something and interpret it a completely different way. So, and it's because you're kind of like all up in your emotions. So you're trying to kind of detach from that so you can think about the situation more realistically and develop a plan of action in order to move forward, because you are pretty determined, bound and determined to go after what it is that you're trying to achieve at this point. Like, you have your eye on the prize and you're not really interested in dealing with any distractions at all. Again, this could make you come off cold because you don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want to deal with anybody. You want the conversation to end. You want everything to end so you can go back to work on what it is that you're trying to work on. This is a necessary energy. I was going to say this may be a necessary energy in some cases. No, it is. It's just in, some of those cases, you may have a hard time with this. You may have a hard time with detaching yourself, in which case it's something that you would benefit on kind of working on doing. Now, let's see what is going on in your love life, Cancer. Okay, no, not that many cards. I just need one. What is going on in Cancer's love life over the next week? Okay, what is going on in Cancer's love life? Got to be kidding me. We have the King of Swords again. Holy guacamole. In your love life. So, dang. Dang. You are really detaching here. Like, and very moody. And, like, kind of an asshole. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. You feel totally justified. You feel totally justified in being cold and being detached and being an asshole, whichever situation this may manifest in it. You feel justified. Very similar energy to what we just encountered of the I'm right, nobody else can tell me I'm wrong thing. Don't be so rigid, because it could be counterproductive to what you are trying to achieve in your relationship. So be careful of that sharp tongue, because it could end up coming back and biting you in the ass. Yeah, definitely be careful about how you express yourself, because it definitely could cause problems in your love life, be it in your relationship or the way other people perceive you. Like, this could, it's not very attractive. It's not a very attractive trait to be insulted viciously, or being talked to as if you were an idiot. It's not attractive. So beware of yourself. Beware of yourself. Beware of your pride. Beware of your ego. Because yeah, this could really come back and bite you in the ass if it is not already. If it's not already brewing. All right. What is going on with Leo? It's too many. It's too many. What is going on in Leo's love life right now? What kind of energy will they encounter? How will it affect them? What is going on with Leo right now? Leo, you have the wheel. I love those colors so much. They're so pretty. So you're at a major turning point in your life. You are rounding a corner. This is kind of exciting to you because you may have had a lot of confusion about the direction you were going, or starting to doubt yourself. And maybe you have decided to change course. Or perhaps you have finally gotten to your destination and now it's time to move on to the next goal. Either way, this is, it's a pretty big period of your life right now. I'm not saying it's like explosive, but this period of time right now, it is very important because you're leaving a cycle behind and moving forward. And you may actually very well be in between, you know. Life is it's kind of always, it's like a cycle. Everything, there's just cycles in existence. And so your life goes in cycles. If you're in the wheel, you're on top of the world, and then you slowly go down, and then you're at the very bottom, but then you start to go up again, and up around to the top. And there are periods in between. It's the in-between space of the ending of one period and the beginning of another where you lie right now. You're just kind of there. It's like it's happening. It's in the process of occurring at this moment, even if you're unaware. Like some of you may be aware of this going on, and others of you may only see this in retrospection in the future. So, but this is, I want to say very important and a very cool energy, but this could also be a very drastic change that may not be brought about in a good way. So it may not be a change that you want, but it's a change that is meant to happen, basically. Okay, I need some water. And a throat lozenge. From this situation, whether it be good, positive, or negative, this experience, you will gain a greater understanding of yourself and just kind of like what you want in life. All right, let's see what's going on in your love life. What is going on in Leo's love life at the moment? What kind of energy is going on in Leo's love life? Okay, count. Leo, you have the King of Cups here. So you are feeling very emotional, whether you are in a relationship or not. If you are in a relationship, you just, you're just, you're drunk in love. You're extremely enamored by this person. Um, and just kind of in a state of where you don't really know how to handle it at this moment. You don't really know how to move forward in this situation, but you know that it's going good. You feel like it's going in a good direction. And you want to celebrate it. Like you want to go out, you want to have a good time with your partner. You want things to be good. But in some situations, it's not good. Like I was saying, there may, like, this change may not be wanted. This energy of change may not be wanted. So your relationship could be going through a transformation right now, but it's not necessarily a good one. And I would like to say, for those of you to where it's not like the best, be wary of indulging in negative coping mechanisms. Watch out for drinking too much or doing too many drugs, or just really going down a negative um, direction in an attempt to drown out the way you feel, an attempt to not feel, because you do not like to feel so deeply about this situation, because that's why it hurts so deeply. The emotion is just like you're extremely connected to this. You may not want to be, but and so that's what you may be trying, how you may be trying to disconnect from it, but it's just going to prolong the process. Because how can you deal with things when you don't even remember? When you don't remember everything because you're intoxicated or you've been intoxicated, can't remember accurately what you have said, what other people have said. Um, you don't want to remember. That's the thing, you don't want to remember, but it's like important to go through these things in order to be able to move forward in your relationship so that you can have a happy and loving and healthy relationship in the future. All right, let's see. What's going on with Virgo? What is going on with Virgo over the next week? What kind of energy will Virgo encounter over the next week? You have the High Priestess, Virgo. Virgo, you are seeking guidance within. You may be detaching from people. There's a lot of energy of detachment now that I think about it. It's been kind of a common thread up to this point, you think? I think there's a level of detachment you have going on here, whether intentional or just there, because sometimes that's just your natural inclination is to just kind of be detached from the situation. Um, so it could be either way. But the goal is the same. The goal is to try to figure out what's going on right now, because you don't really know what's going on. You don't really know what's best for you. And you're trying to, like I said, seek guidance within. You're really trying to figure out what it is that you want moving forward, what you think will be in your best interest. And you may feel like the influence of outside people will definitely get in the way of you deciding what is best for you, of you figuring out what is best for you. I mean, that's pretty simple and direct. It's interesting to me, though, because you are a very practical sign for the most part. Very, very practical. And not necessarily, and this is not to say all of you are like this, but typically you're not necessarily inclined to go within, receive guidance from within. That's not what you think of it as. You're just analyzing the situation. So that may be what you're doing. No, I'm not seeking guidance within. I'm thinking about it, and I'm not talking to people about it, and I'm trying to figure it out. I mean, what do you think that is? You trying to figure it out. Guidance from yourself. Okay, let's see what's going on in your love life. What is going on in Virgo's love life? Virgo, you have the Five of Pentacles. So you may be feeling rejected. Some of you may be feeling rejected. And, so now you got to walk away from the situation and just try to leave behind the notion, the ideas you had of how this would be moving forward. Of course, nobody likes to feel rejected, but long term, you'll see how this is working out for your favor, in your favor. Many of you are working to leave these negative feelings behind. Perhaps you've been very negative about your love life because of everything that has happened, and you may be starting to realize how that's very counterproductive to you developing a current and future relationship. So you may be trying to let go of these things and leave them behind. You know, again, that's where the high priestess energy definitely has an influence here too, because you're kind of keeping to yourself when you're doing this. Whether you're in a relationship or not, this is just something you're doing on your own. You're the only one that can do it. So you maybe just, again, like not really talking to anybody. So that's the theme. That's the main energy, because it's what it is. Like, we all deal with the same energy. It just affects us in our own individual ways. So it's starting to look like the energy of this week in general is just kind of seeking guidance from within. That's just a little side note. All right, let's see what is going on with Libra. What is going on with Libra? What kind of energy will Libra encounter over the next week? What's going on with Libra? Libra, you have the King of Cups. So you're feeling super emotional. You're feeling very, very emotional. I'm laughing, you guys, because I'm also seeing the guidance from within message here with Libra. Let's just think about symbolism here. Enlightenment from inside the mind. So you're feeling extremely emotional and just trying to navigate your way through this. You don't want to be overtaken. I don't know if that's entirely by your emotions, because they can be. They can hijack your life, if you will. They can take over the direction you are going in, and you don't want that to happen. But at this moment, your emotions are reigning supreme, be it positive or negative. Um, but again, you're the only one that can really. You're the only one that has control over your state of mind. And maybe you feel like you don't. Maybe you feel like you just can't stop thinking the way you're thinking, but you're the only one that can redirect yourself. You're the only one that can actually seek out ways to cope with this. Coping mechanisms, positive, hopefully positive coping mechanisms, but you may be inclined toward the negative, unfortunately. Um, so I would try to, of course, avoid dealing with it negatively. But it happens. Nobody's perfect. Yeah, you just got to be careful not to be chained to these emotions, having them hold you back. Okay, let's see. With your love life, we have the devil. So you are just like completely, use this word again, enamored. I don't use it very often, but I like it. With the person that you are interested in, or your person, you're just like so much in love, so much love. Obsessively, though, and in some cases it could be negative, it could be toxic, it could be it's borderline toxic, and some it's straight up toxic, you know. Um, so that's something you should definitely try to be aware of. Like if this is something you disagree with now, maybe you should take a moment to kind of examine the behaviors, the way you and your spouse interact, and maybe work to change them. But a lot of these toxic actions and reactions are a result of these deep and intense emotions that you don't really know how to deal with. Um, some of you are just extremely, some of you are just, you really want to get laid. I mean, some of you just really want to get laid. You really, 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 really want to get laid. But again, this is a situation that could become toxic if you do it too much, or like with too many different people, or if that's all you want from your significant other. Maybe they don't feel the same way. You know, this could this could also blind you. This could blind you just as much as your emotions. So if you're emotionally attached to this situation on top of that, yeah, you're going to have a deep desire. But I also think that some of you may decide to seek this out elsewhere, like outside of the relationship. Of course, that's toxic. That's not healthy. And definitely a lot of extreme emotions going into this situation. Definitely. But again, you're the only one that can break your chains. You're the only one that can break your bonds. You may feel like you can't do anything right now. Maybe, and I would hate, I'm not wishing this on anybody, but like the energy is here. Like you may be in a very abusive situation that you feel like you can get out of. But there is a way. I'm not saying it's an easy way. It can be very difficult, but there is a way. It's just you have to make the decision. You have to make the choice. You have to do what you know is right, not what you feel is right, but you know is right. It's pretty intense. Just, if anybody out there is like in an abusive relationship, if that's like what I have just described, what's going on with you, just I hope that you find the strength to get out of it, to walk away. Easier said than done, right? That's why I said I hope you're able to find the strength to do it. Okay, let's see what's going on with Scorpio. What is going on with Scorpio? It's too many cards. I just need one. What kind of energy will Scorpio encounter over the next week? We have Justice. It's decision time. It's time to make a choice. It's time to make a decision. You have, oh my gosh, you guys, it's the same storyline. It's the same storyline. You're trying not to be blinded by your emotions. You are trying to find a balance between the way you think and the way you feel. And it is of infinite importance in regards to your current situation. But now it's time. Now it's time, and now it's time to make the choice. No matter what it may be, good or bad, where it may lead, the time is now. The time is now. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Scorpio. It's pretty direct. Okay, let's see. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Scorpio. What kind of energy will Scorpio encounter? Scorpio, you have the Six of Pentacles. Some of you may be in a situation where you are being taken advantage of, or where you are taking advantage of others. The other person, you or the other person, may be putting in more work than your partner. And now it's time to decide whether or not you are going to move forward, whether or not you're going to continue to move forward in this path, on this path with this person. Unfortunately, not in all cases, but in some, and more than I would like, Unfortunately, I see the energy here of abuse as well. And that it's time to decide. It's time to decide whether you move forward or walk away. For some of you, this may be a warning, be it of don't let yourself be taken advantage of, or don't be that person that takes advantage of another person. Um, some of you just may be trying to figure out if the feelings are mutual, if the other person cares about you the way you care about them. So you can decide how you want to move forward in this relationship. But again, I will say, if you are one of those people that are unfortunately in an abusive relationship, I hope that you find the strength to leave. There are options out there, you just have to seek them out. And they may not be the best options, like it may not be what you want with your life, but do you want this with your life instead? Is this how you want your life instead? At least in other ways you can start over fresh. It's like start over fresh or continue down this path. The choice needs to be made now. Heavy vibes, heavy vibes. But again, I'm gonna say some of you may be trying to figure out whether or not the person that you care about cares about you the same way. You both may be actively working to balance things out if they have been imbalanced before. Like say if it's been a situation where one person has put in more energy than another, it's time where it's like, okay, either you are going to work with me or we're going to move on. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's like, hey, this is what I need. It's like we're going to do this or we aren't. Okay. Heavy, 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 heavy. I Under the cover of darkness. Um, I believe that's primarily for Scorpio, even though I just put up Sagittarius. I couldn't help but think of under the cover of darkness. And, I'm talking about leaving an abusive situation. It may be easier to do under the cover of darkness. So at night, Okay. All right. Let's see what's going on with Sagittarius. Hope we can take this to a lighter note, but hey, I gotta read what I see. Let's see what's going on with Sagittarius over the next week. What is going on with Sagittarius over the next week? Sagittarius, you have the Page of Cups. So I feel like similar to Gemini, you're kind of burnt out on communicating. And the reason I say it's similar to Gemini, it's because you're usually a talker. you know? You just burn out. You just burn out. You may need some time to recharge, you know? Not all of you. Again, similar to Gemini, there are some of you that you're just already so excited and amped up for the holidays. And if not, you have that vibe, that giddy, excited vibe. Maybe you're happy that, it's the winter time, So say I don't know who would be happy for that, but there are people out there that like cold. I'm just not one of them. Um, so you're really excited. There may need to be an apology, like perhaps you may have said too much, or somebody else may have said too much. So with some of you may need to apologize, or maybe you need somebody else to apologize to you. You know, there may be just kind of like a small truce, you know? If you don't patch things up all the way, there's at least a truce. You don't want negative vibes. You don't really want negative vibes. So you may be overlooking certain things. I don't know if that's healthy. Honestly, it really just depends on what you're looking over. I will check out the comments when I finish reading the love energy of Sagittarius. Okay, what's going on in Sagittarius' love life? I need one card for Sagittarius' love life, please. What's going on in their love life over the next week? Sagittarius, you have the King of Cups, so you're feeling very loving, very emotional. Some of you may have just made some recent connections. You met somebody recently, you really like them, they really like you, lots of flirtation going on, maybe going out, having drinks, all that fun stuff. All that fun stuff. If there has been conflict, though, you may be either indulging in some sort of substance so that you can forget, or indulging in some sort of substance to try to gain confidence, as odd as that may sound, to like work up the nerve to have this conversation. Be careful not to overindulge. You may have an inclination towards doing that. Like, even if you don't really indulge very often, when you do, you really do. Just be careful not to go too hardcore on it, because you may find yourself going down a road you never wanted to. And from what I've seen, that's a very hard road to get off of. Okie dokie. What it do, what it do. I do like fire. I do like a good bonfire. I really do. Ay, qué rico. Why, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, back to the show. Let's see what's going on with Capricorn. What is going on with Capricorn over the next week? What kind of energy will Capricorn encounter over the next week? How will it affect them? How will they deal with it? All right, Capricorn, you have the 10 of Wands, so you may be burnt out. Like, you've been overworking yourself, you've been taking on too much, you haven't been getting enough sleep. And that has actually, whether you realize or not, that's kind of put you in a weakened state where you're more vulnerable to sickness, illness, catching something, or if you may already have something, just kind of things being really bad right now. You've just been overdoing it. You really need to give yourself a break. And that may be very well what some of you are doing. Some of you may be like, pause. I am about to fall out from exhaustion. I need to pause before I fall out, I need to freaking chill out before I fall out. You have a lot of stuff that's been burdening you, be it literally or metaphorically. This stuff is just and if it's literally, it is also metaphorically. So, I mean, let's hope it's just metaphorically, because having both has got to suck. At least, metaphorically. Well, I don't know about that, because sometimes emotional and mental pain is easier to deal with than physical pain. So either way, you are having a hard time and you need a break. All right, let's see what's going on in your love life. Capricorn, what is going on in Capricorn's love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Capricorn encounter over the next week? Just need one card, please. Yes, yes. Okay, we have the Six of Cups. You may be thinking a lot about your past relationships, or things that have happened in your relationship in the past. This stuff may be really bothering you. It may be really getting to you, and you need to be careful, because it could get in the way of a future relationship. It could get in the way of you being open. But I think with some of you, it's like you don't want to be thinking about this. You just can't stop yourself. If you're not already trying, you would definitely benefit from redirecting your thoughts. Like, if you find yourself starting to think about that, and try to think about something else. Okay, I'm not going to say that. But just try to take your mind off of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to ignore this. I'm not telling you to avoid it. I'm not telling you not to think about it. I'm just telling you, I'm just trying to tell you that if you start overthinking, try to redirect. An apology may be needed. So if you feel like you have done something wrong and you feel really bad about it, just apologize, man. Swallow your pride. Apologize. Okay? If if the other person is in the wrong, you really should not move forward in this situation until they take accountability and try to do better, you know, actively try to better. If there's no active attempt to do better, you gotta do what's best for you. Not what you feel is best, what you know is best. Some of you may be having a hard time with the latter, though. You may be just so exhausted you can't really think clearly. Excuse me. Let's see what's going on with Aquarius. What is up, Aquarius? I just need one. What is going on with Aquarius over the next week? It's so funny, my hair is so long that if I'm not careful when I shuffle, like my hair gets caught up in the cards. It's funny. Anyways, Aquarius, you have the Chariot. So, like, some of you may be going on a road trip, perhaps coming home from visiting whomever. Just, yeah, some of you may be getting a new car. Woo-hoo. Congratulations. I wish I was you. Nah, my vehicle's pretty cool. It just needs basic maintenance. You know, some of you are really, you're either having a hard time moving on from a situation or you are getting to the point where you can let it go. So I feel like this may involve something that has occurred between you and somebody else. Perhaps this has created a long-standing issue and you may be finally getting to the point to where you're letting it go. You're moving on from it. You're seeing the lesson there. You're seeing that even though this was a negative experience, it led to good things. Even if it was not immediate, at least even if those good things were not immediate, and I'm even gonna say this, even if it takes years. Like, I'm sorry, waiting years suck, but like, it may take you years to recognize it. But still, once you recognize it, you're gonna be like, okay, all that had to happen. All that had to happen to get me where I am now. And I love where I am now. I'm happy to be where I am now. And if all that didn't happen, I would not be here. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Aquarius. What kind of energy will you encounter in your love life, Aquarius? What's going on in Aquarius's love life? I need one card. I just need one. What's going on in Aquarius's love life? Okay, you have the Seven of Swords. Unfortunately, you know, some of you may be dealing with somebody who's not being honest with you. They may be sleeping around. Quite honestly, you know, there may be some lies going on here. There may be also be somebody who is tired of all that. They're tired of lying. They're tired of hiding, and they just want to be honest. So some of them may be just coming out and like admitting what they have done. So, and hoping you can move beyond this in your relationship, but willing to accept that it may not be in the relationship. That maybe, you know, you may need to move on from the relationship, not in it, from it. It really just depends on your situation. I know, like if this, it just really depends on your situation. I could go through a million different scenarios, but when it comes down to it, it's something that's being hidden. It's a lie that's being told by omission, more than likely by omission, but it could be, just a direct lie, bold-faced. And the truth will come out either by that person's own personal choice, or you're going to figure it out. You're not dumb. You are not dumb. It may take you a little bit to notice because you're in your own little world, but you're not dumb. You're not. And this other person has been playing you. God, man. I don't like it when things are negative. But that's life. That's life, okay? And I'm not gonna freaking blow smoke up your ass. This is what I see. Some of you may be in a situationship or a relationship that is stuck. It has stopped. It is not moving forward because of this. Because something is not being told. The communication sucks here. It really, really sucks. Some of you may be avoiding the situation altogether. It's like the communication sucks. And you're at a point where you're just ready to move on. You don't want to deal with it anymore. I guess in some extremely rare occasions, this could be a surprise. Perhaps your partner has a surprise. They've been hiding something from you. Perhaps this surprise is going on a trip. Not necessarily a trip, but it doesn't necessarily. What is being hidden does not necessarily have to be bad. Let's just say that. And so try not to act too crazy in the meantime until the truth, is known. All right. All right, let's see what's going on with Pisces. What is up with Pisces? What kind of energy will Pisces encounter over the next week? What is going on with Pisces? Pisces, you have the Hermit. Oh my gosh, you're so burnt out on other people. This is like an extreme burnout. There were a couple other signs, or there's some of you who, yeah, you burn out, but this is major burnout. This is like just not just tired and exhaustion and energy, but energy. Like you are totally drained, because you're very sensitive, you're very empathetic, you're very sensitive, and it can be very draining. And you've been around so many people lately. Not all of them were good, but most of them were draining. Not all of them were bad either, because some people don't really know that they are extremely exhausting to be around. So it's not necessarily an intentional thing. But in other cases, it's always been an energy suck, and you're just burnt out. You just want to get home. You just want to relax. You want to rest. You don't want to deal with anybody. It's time to recharge. Okay? It's time to recharge. See what's going on in your love life, Pisces. What is going on in Pisces' love life? All right, Pisces, you have the Three of Pentacles here. You and your partner may be working on, building a business or just expanding in your life in general, maybe getting a bigger home, maybe expanding your family. Um, but you are definitely working to develop and nurture your current relationship or a situationship. You definitely want to, well, nurture this, help it grow. Some of you, there may have been issues between you and somebody else, be it a long-term relationship or a situationship, and there has been conflict, and you may be at a point where you're trying to decide whether or not you even want to bother working it out with this person because you're not sure. You're not sure, and so you're carrying this vibe, this general with everybody vibe of like going within, of keeping to yourself, trying to figure things out before you express it, basically. Some of you may be really trying to work on your issues so that you can be better in your relationship, so you can work on your relationship. Because perhaps, there's some things that have been holding you back. So it's like there's some things you got to let go of, and there's some things, you know, that you need to learn how to do. There's work to be put in. Like if you want this to work, you definitely have to put the work in. It's not going to be easy. Relationships aren't easy, even if they are. Like if you have a good, healthy relationship, you and your partner, you understand each other, you get each other. But there's still disagreements that may happen that you got to work out. There's still obstacles in life that you got to work through together. It's a continual development of a relationship. It doesn't, I mean, it shouldn't stop evolving. Just in general, it should not stop evolving. It happens, but it's beneficial to continue to grow. Okay, so those are your readings for the next week. I hope they resonate for accuracy purposes. Thank you so much to everybody who showed up and showed love. Thank you to everyone who shows up after to watch. And all my haters, of course, because hey, you're showing up too, right? All right, I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to check out my Patreon and my Instagram. I have my artwork. I have a bunch of my artwork up on Instagram if you want to check that out. And Facebook. And y'all have a great week. See y'all next week.